I was 19 years old, cracked rib, ear hanging off the side of my head, and I quit. It was 3 weeks of getting beat down. I had one final exercise left, and I let the unknown talk me out of it. It was one of the first times that I truly quit. Little bit of backstory here. I was in the, and at the end of the day, like, it's crazy to me because it wasn't even the hardest thing I've done in my life, not even close. But at that time, it probably was physically. It was when they first opened up. I was 19 years old. It was 2001. And they just opened up the green belt martial arts green belt instructor course. And back then, it was legit. It was brutal. I don't know how it is now, but I mean, it was unregulated. There was no oversight. It was just 3 weeks of fighting. Now I think I'm like, how freaking cool would that be? As much as I've done in my life, just 3 weeks of combatives sound fun, even to my old broken body. I went through the entire 3 weeks, not doing it well. No background in fighting, no background in martial arts. I mean, I did some like karate or something like everybody else did when they were a kid for a little while, and broke some fake boards. 3 weeks of getting punched in the face every single day. And then at the end of the day, man, I had a couple cracked ribs. My ear got cut basically in half and was like hanging off. I had to get sewn back together. And I'm just beat down, man. And I remember taking in an Epsom salt bath the night before, and that little voice in my head just started to tell stories like how the ribs are going to crack and go into my lungs and I'm going to die and all this bullshit. And that night I barely slept. And then it was a final exercise. We were just going to do some things, run with some logs. And he didn't even he was bald head. He was jacked, tattoos, tan, decent fighter. And he didn't even, he was so hard on everybody, and he didn't get hard on me. He completely changed his tune, which is something I took later in life and utilized. And he didn't care. He said, all right, sit this one out. You'll sit this one out, and no big deal. Didn't give me a hard time, didn't talk bad about me, nothing. And I just sat there and I watched my team do the final exercise. And afterwards he said, yeah, I can't graduate you. He couldn't graduate me, and rightfully so. He didn't care I was hurt, and he told me this afterwards. All he wanted to see was me commit to the process, try, and I didn't. I would have just shown up if I would have just put that one step forward. The team knew I was hurt. He knew I was hurt. They would have carried what weight I couldn't have carried, right? And that's what you do as a team. And I was there. I put in the work. I did the time. I took the hits. And at the end of the day, I quit on myself. And what he wanted to see was me not to quit on myself, no matter how hard things got. Honestly, that lesson, I would not be the man I am today without that lesson. Because that was one of the biggest cornerstones for me in my entire life. One of many, but one of the sticking points. That failure is the reason why I never quit anything again, and not even close. And it lived rent free in my head as I continued on with my career through making it through becoming a reconnaissance Marine, becoming a Marine Raider. Everything I did was all built around that moment. And so that was a beautiful moment for me, because if I had not had that, there might have been another moment when I reached my limits and I would have tapped out and not learned that lesson. There's a version of special operations mindset, and I've done these videos, and they're all over YouTube, and most of it is like recruiting poster versions, the bravado, the intensity, whatever. It's hyperbole. That's not what I want. I don't want that to be this video, and I don't want it to be some marketing version of it. So after 12 years in MARSOC, here's what I actually watched separate the men who made it from the men who didn't. And every single one of these patterns transforms into your business, into your marriage, into your fatherhood, and your body, and I'm living proof of it. Whether you served or not, it doesn't really matter. If you're a man over 35 who feels like he's gone soft in a way that you can't quite name, then this video is for you. So the men who make it through selection are not the toughest physically. And we've talked a lot about this in the past. Like, I've watched the strongest guys break first. They're not used to failing. The high school quarterback. These guys who they've just succeeded kind of effortlessly for a long time. And as soon as the screws are really put to them and really tested their mettle, they don't like to fail, so they just tap out early. The ones who made it had these three things wired into them. And that's what I want to talk about. The first one is a why strong enough to die for. The men who make it through selection are not the toughest physically. I've watched plenty of physically strong men break first, and that's really in here. They're obviously physically strong, they can perform. But what they share is, the ones who make it is what they share is the why that they're there in the first place is so strong that they literally would rather die on that road than quit. And I know that sounds dramatic. It's not. It's an actual cognitive setting. When your body says 40%, your mind says, no, we are not done. And I've seen the smallest guys, and I'm talking the smallest guy. Everybody thinks like the Marine Raider, the Recon Marine is a 6'4", 250 pound, 10% body fat Arnold Schwarzenegger. It's not. It's not. These guys there's guys that are, I've seen guys smaller than me. Eddie, for one of them, like, we're hiking up a mountain, and next thing I know, he's passing me, same ruck, same weight, if not more, and he's passing me. They're just why, the why behind what they do, and maybe they have something to prove, and there's nothing wrong with that, is just so foundationally cemented in their life that there's no other option. So these guys who quit aren't weak, they just found their upper limit, right? Like I did when I was 19, I found my upper limit, and that's a gift. And most men never push themselves to find themselves before they tap out at their 20, 40%. But finding your limit is not the same thing as being selected. Let's let that be clear. The guys who made it had a why that overrode the limit. So your body can go way longer than your brain wants you to. The brain is lying to you. The pain is temporary. The brain tricks you into thinking that you're stuck in it forever. It's not forever. It's completely temporary. It might be 30 minutes. It might be an hour. It's 2 hours. Whatever it is, you push through that block of time, and then it's over. So what does that look like in your regular life? Like, what does that look like in your business, your marriage, your relationship with your kids, your physical health? Most men quit those things at 40%, not because they can't keep going, because their brain told them they couldn't. Like, you can't do this. They talk them out of it. The man who builds something real has a why that he would rather freaking die for in service than rather abandon it. And that's the actual setting. So the second one is mental agility, not just toughness. Mental agility. For guys who won't quit, right? It's like, there's plenty of guys that won't quit. There really are. There's plenty of tough guys out there. It's looking for guys who can think when nobody is telling them what to do. Think about that. Like, how many people what to do at a job, in life, in general? They just need to be told what to do. Well, in this job of being special operations or being a high performer, no one's going to tell you what to do. Like, you've got to figure it out. You've got to problem solve. So mental agility and being able to pivot under pressure and solve the issue, solve the problem when the plan goes sideways, that's what they're looking for. That's the type of guy they're looking for. You have to be able to problem solve when the situation has no precedent. It's up to you. Most men today, civilian or in uniform, doesn't really matter, are not trained for that. They're trained to be told. So think about that. Look at how many people interact with their phone. They Google everything. They ask AI for everything. They send me messages that, I mean, I don't even know how many times I get an Instagram message from somebody that simply could have been Googled. Like, I'm not your freaking Google, man. But we're trained for that. We are completely programmed to, instead of solving the problem or seeking out the information for ourselves and learning, we're hardwired to ask somebody for help. And when the answer isn't on the screen, they freeze, they hesitate, they wait, and then they ask, and then they scroll. The problem is if you want to have a special operations mindset, the operator can't freeze. He has to move. He has to decide. And he has to be wrong fast or right faster. That's the reality. So if you're the guy who wants to not actually think, special operations is not the place for you, or that mindset's not right for you. And neither is real life, to be frank, because the world doesn't hand out instruction manuals. You have to be the guy that builds the manual for yourself. And so this is the reason why, like, a lot of men can't lead their own house. They're looking for an instruction manual. They're waiting to be told what to do from their wife or somebody else or the freaking internet. I don't know. Husband to be, what type of father to be, what type of man to be. And this is why most businesses fail. The owner is waiting for the playbook instead of writing it. Mental agility is a muscle. You build it by putting yourself in situations where nobody can hand you the answer. Now, the third pattern is the brain will choose comfort every single time. It's just the way that it's wired. Like, you have this thing in your brain called the amygdala. I've talked about it a lot, but it's the reason why, like, it's there to protect you from saber-tooth tiger, so you don't step out the cave and get eaten, right? Their brain is not always on your side. It's on its own side. It's wired to keep you alive, not to make you great. The problem is the saber-tooth tiger isn't sitting outside your house anymore. So what mechanism to aim it at now? Well, the saber-tooth tiger now is just the donut. It's the cookie. It's the Netflix queue. It's, oh, I got to clean out this drawer or vacuum this floor before doing this thing because this thing that I have to do is difficult and I might fail. So I might as well just get ADD and start doing random shit, right? I've done that. Or how many of you have had to write a paper for school? It's like, take it back to school age. It's due Friday morning. When are you writing it? Thursday night, or at worst, Friday morning on the bus, right? Last minute. It's because your amygdala is like, hey, this is going to be hard and challenging. You might fail. Let's just put it off or not do it at all. Same thing. Working out is hard. Amygdala says, no, that's hard. You might fail. It might hurt. You might get hurt. That was my amygdala when I was 19, checking in like, hey, your lungs, your ribs are going to go through your lungs. I literally thought that. I was going to have, a collapsed lung from my rib cracking in my lung. So ridiculous. But that was my brain telling me that. Keep me safe. Keep you safe. Don't do this. Right? So this transfers to all areas of our life. Studying for the test, building the business, writing the book, sitting down and having a hard conversation with your wife or a business employee, all hard. The amygdala says, no, let's go scroll Instagram instead. So think about this. Think about the biggest accomplishments in your life, right? Things that you're most proud of, whatever that is for you. You didn't work for it, or you worked for it. That's what I mean. The things you don't work for have no value. Anything given to you has no value. Anything of comfort has no value without the hard. The thing you're most proud of in your entire life, look at it right now. Think about it right now. This thing that's on your mantle, the thing you tell your kids about, the thing you tell your grandkids about, I guarantee you it required sacrifice. It required time. It was hard. So if everything you're most proud of came from the hard stuff, why are you spending the rest of your life running from the hard things? Choosing comfort isn't neutral. It's not a break. It's a slow leak in your life. Every time you let your amygdala win, you teach yourself that quitting is an option. Quitting is habitual. And eventually, when life hands you the real test, you don't have the hard wiring to pass it. And this is why men gained 40 pounds in 10 years. And they don't know how it happened. It was the death of 1,000 cuts. It happened one small choice of easy over hard over a period of time. Okay. So I'm going to tell you something that most guys won't tell you. When I got out, the mindset did not transfer with me. Everything I'm talking about was not a one-for-one transfer, not on its own. I assumed all the things I learned in MARSOC would just translate to everything. And I was like, nope, I got nothing. So basically all the skills that I learned in 12 years of military, shoot, moving, communicating, jump operations, dive operations, patrolling operations, planning, etc., weapon handling, tactics, all the stuff, right? Technical things. It fit into that world, and I had no value. To the rest of society. So I might as well just do whatever I wanted to do, right? Because I didn't transfer or I didn't figure it out, I was kind of left on my own. I kind of lost myself. And you guys know that story. I wrote about it. I wrote a book about it. I got overweight. I lost my purpose. I lost my identity. And I sat there for almost 3 years before I figured out what was actually wrong. And then if you guys will remember, I started to get it squared away, but then it really, really hit me. I did this thing where I got fed up with the whole, what's it called? New Year's resolutions. Fucking New Year's resolutions. And I was so just upset about it. I'm like, you guys, when your New Year's resolutions are just BS. And so after almost 3 years of getting out, I wanted to show people that a goal without a plan is just a wish, like really kicked in. It was the operational planning applied to life. Know where you are, know where you want to be, and then reverse engineer the path to get there. And then refuse to quit when it gets hard. So for me, it was the 90-day vlog. I created a 90-day vlog, and I wanted to show people, like, I'd gone overweight, and I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to show people what's up. So my goal was to lose 30 pounds in 90 days. Launch a coffee. That's where Raiders Roast came from. And I was going to make a vlog. I was going to make a video every single day for 90 days. And I had like primary objectives and then secondary objectives. And so I did just that. And my whole point was, like, if you're going to make a New Year's resolution, then you have to create a plan around it. And that's what I did. Was I showed people. I was like, this is where I came, my reverse engineering plan. And we just did this. We did this in special operations. Here's the battle space. This is where we need the battle space to be. Then we reverse engineered the phase lines of what we need to do to get to that place. And so I just took that same thing, and it was like the freaking light bulb came on. I was like, oh my God, I can play this to like literally anything in my life. So the absence of this looks like what? When you don't do this. Successful on paper, looks dialed in from the outside, income's good, gym is fine, family's intact. Side, you're just defaulting. Skipping the workout twice a week, avoiding the hard conversations with your wife, half presence with your kids, numb at night, and you're checked out, whatever it may be. There's nothing visible. So you quit in the small invisible ways. It's like the micro quits, right? 1,000 tiny taps. You never notice it until you're 50 and wondering why you feel like a stranger in your own skin, in your own life. When all you had to do was just turn your brain off and run the plan. I don't need to be motivated. I don't need to be like, discipline is a byproduct of my schedule and my why. And just being, so here's the truth. The reason why that Josh and I talk about this, former teammate and I, and partner in the Agoge, like we talk about it all the time, like we're just too dumb to quit. I don't know how to anymore. I pivot, I get over hurdles, I find another way, but I don't stop moving forward. I know I'm going this freaking direction, and no matter what I'm doing, I'm going this direction. How? With who? I don't know. And this is not because I was born with it. It was because I failed one course at 19 years old, and I made a decision that I would never let that unknown talk me out of finishing something ever again. So you guys can do the same thing. You can make that decision today. You don't need my position. You don't need anybody else's permission. You don't need a uniform. You need to stop letting your brain pick the easy thing and start letting the man inside you pick the one hard thing, and then go do it. And if you got something out of this and you want some actual framework around it, I use to help men do this work in their own life. So I created a free course, and it's called Crushing Limiting Beliefs. The link is in the description. This is the reason why you fall off the wagon. This is the reason why you can't stick to doing hard things. It's completely free. It's like a 14-lesson course. The link's in the description below. Go get it. Be too dumb to quit. Never quit. Never surrender. We always keep moving forward. Peace.